let's just make this episode 0, and I have no name yet for the video channel. This is gonna be, this is gonna go along with the audio podcast, the long form that I'm doing, and this is gonna be, I'm gonna fumble this pretty bad insofar as trying to link these together. Get where either the video the video part either supports the long form audio podcast, or is a standalone, or the long form podcast supports the video, or stands alone. And when they're connected, I want to be able to connect them up. That's not going to always happen, but this is so anyway, what we're going to do is a property walk on my new house. Okay, so we're going to walk around the property. I'm not going to tell you where things are going. Those are going to be separate videos. We're just going to look at what the hell's going on in this, at this property right now. So what you're looking at is the car, my wife's car, the Honda that I've been driving to Lubbock to go commute to work. So that's the studio that I'm using for the long form audio podcast. And we are looking roughly south by southeast. And this is the front yard, and let's just start taking a look at what's going on. And I think what I'm going to do is we're going to go, that's south, so let's just get like a little pan, kind of get you guys used to what's going on. So here's the front steps, right, and sidewalk, and there's going to be a lot of contrast adjustments that's going on my iPhone 8 because it's a clear day. It's absolutely beautiful out here too, and it's not terribly hot. It's probably about, like, I don't know, 92, 93 or something like that. So let's start on the north side of the house, and we'll just run out here, and we'll start with most people call these the devil strips. The strip of land that you don't technically own, but you're required to take care of, that exists between a sidewalk, which you also technically don't own, but are, somehow or another forced to take care of, and the public street. All right, so these are wide. I mean, these are every bit of, God, what is this? This is every bit of like 11 or 12 foot wide. And so it runs down here. We got a dead elm tree stump. It's been dead for years. This is a liability tree. Yeah, total liability tree. It's 100% dead elm, right? Dead Chinese elm tree. Got, I don't know, probably Dutch elm disease. A lot of them were suffering from that in West Texas. And we get to the abandoned house that's next door. It's, hey, this is what happens when you decide to live in a rural West Texas town. Stuff like that happens. So, and then our other nice, beautiful liability elm tree, which, clearly you have to do something about that. So they're back of my fence. And then now we're looking dead east. So what's going on with, I don't know, let's take a good look at what's going on with the grass, or the weeds, and grass, and what kind of dirt. Yeah, this is just bad. It's bad. So we'll get into more of that, and then we got these bare soil patches. As a general rule, guys, you see bare soil, that ain't good. Soil is not meant to be bare. It is meant to be covered. Sorry, there's a lot. Again, benefits of living in a rural community. Everybody owns a truck. So this is the north side of the house. So this is going to end up being in, you know, is going to get the least amount of light of solar radiation throughout the year on a year-over-year basis. It's going to receive the least amount of light because, you know, there's the east side of the north side of the house. So once that sun starts going down, it's going to start casting shade. And then we got these two things, which, you know, if anybody knows what species of cedar this is, I'd like to know. I know it's a cedar of some kind, but I'm having to bring it back from the dead because it never got watered. This elm, yeah, it may survive if I get water to it. It doesn't look like it's got beetle strike or anything like that, but this elm, on the other hand, which is now we're still looking mostly east, you know, southeast, is in bad shape. And then we got this little specimen guy going out, which is pretty cool. Somebody tried to kill it and was not successful, and I'll show you why that is. We'll go right over here to where somebody tried to chainsaw through this thing. I mean, somebody really made a concerted effort to try to kill it, but as you can see, they didn't do a good job, and I'm going to leave it. I actually kind of like it. It's not useful. It does cast shade, and so we'll therefore be able to minimize or have some impact on evaporation of where it's shading. But, you know, for the most part, it doesn't do anything. And then this was probably either another elm, but I suspect it was probably a sister to that. I don't know yet. It's really hard to tell. But that's what I think it is. I think it was another one of those. So we'll get into this little pocket of my house between the fence that was bordering here that kind of goes in, and here's those cedars. And again, bare patches all over here, especially right here, because this has zero solar radiation throughout the year. There's nothing, no sun hits, you know, no sun. There's just no sun. And then I've got these neat little trees, which I do, again, you know, I'm not a botanist, you guys, so, you know, I'm not going to start throwing out Latin terms of every single, you know, tree that I see. But it has really, you know, pretty little flowers on it. So again, I'm going to keep it because, you know, it's pretty, it's doing okay. I'll probably prune it pretty good. And I don't know. You know, it may come in handy, not sure. So now we're back in the front yard, looking dead south, and we'll go over here. This is the dirt that I'm gonna install a mailbox post, which the hole's being covered by that rock so nobody breaks their ankle. I suspect this little grouping of wildflowers was a single packet of seeds that was planted so that they could curb appeal this house to get it sold, because it just doesn't make, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense because there's nothing else here. This is where a big plastic box used to be, and I have soaker hose. So you can see the 3 lines of soaker hose that are going through here, and we come up to this type. I think it's going to be a type of holly, because it has these really sharp edges on the leaves like a holly does, but it's a different configuration. And then we get this huge red cedar, which it's snagged. You know, I guess this would be called a snag. I am not going to pay to have this thing pulled out because it's actually, now that I've got water, I've been watering it and taking care of it, it's starting to respond. Then we get, you know, this is technically the east side of my house, so it's going to get blasted by sun in the morning, And as you can see, it's now it's in shade. So this is going to be a really good spot, and we'll see if any of you guys can recognize what that is. And you can see a few more of its brothers and sisters in the back. So this is going to be a pocket that I do something with, and we will have, we will have many opportunities to talk about what this is going to end up being. And this thing, God, Bradford pears. Somebody please stop people from planting Bradford pears. I hate these trees. I hate them. They're completely useless. If somebody knows how they're useful, please tell me. At one point or another, I'll get you guys an email address to be able to yell at me or shake your fist at me, and somebody might say, "Why God, how dare you say that this isn't useful?" Here's a laundry list of uses for it. Please tell me, because I don't see this as anything other than shade and firewood. I'm not going to cut it down. I do see some utility in using it to learn how to graft pear scion wood to it, so that it would actually produce actual fruit, because I've heard that works. But other than that, this is the most overplanted tree in the United States, and it's just tragic because not only does it not produce a fruit, it does produce a fruit. It's completely inedible, but it will drop genetically viable seed that can grow into more of these things. I did not know that. I thought this was a sterile tree, but I was told at Permaculture Voices 3 by a guy who presented there that no, in fact, these things will actually spread their genetic spawn everywhere. And we'll get into that later also. So let's look at the composure of the front lawn. Weeds, fescues, bunches of amaranth. So in that post that I was telling you about, let's see, right there is this spot, and if we back up, there's this whole spot right here, and then all through here is a different composition than what's going on. Let's say what's going on over here. Not a whole lot of amaranth. So if you listen to what I was saying about what amaranth and pioneer species tries to tell you, this is what I'm talking about. I can visually see exactly where on this property, even though it's covered over with grass, I can see the different compositions of the soil. I don't really have, the soil underneath that, probably in pretty good condition. Soil underneath that, probably in decent condition. No, not at all. Absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not. No. So I'm being told a story by this plant. This plant is telling me where I have problems. I'm going to listen to these plants. I did forget. Let's get back over here to what ends up being the northeast corner of the lot. Just to show you this. Here, there's not a whole lot growing at all. Not even. There's a scrag amount of pioneer species. All of that is pioneer species. Almost all of it. There's hardly any real grass. It's in bad shape, terrible shape. This is even worse. Because when you get rain and you still see bare patches and not a whole lot of this amaranth and stuff creeping up, that means there's something deadly wrong. There is something deadly wrong. I could imagine somebody accidentally dropped a 20-pound bag of ice, or salt right here during an ice storm or something. That would be or a gallon of Roundup just penetrated the soil and just killing everything. I don't know, but it's terrible, right? All right, so looking back down south, we're gonna kind of just walk back this way and see, this is what I was talking about. If you heard my audio podcast, I was describing the house, and I'm pretty sure it began its life as a Cape Cod. that and then ended up getting modified to connect this garage to the main house via this little thing right here, which actually contains a bathroom and egress to the backyard. So 2-car garage, and then we get to these little devil strips, which are also in terrible condition. You know? So it's growing nothing but amaranth, Russian thistle, God, all kinds of just, you know, really, you know, plants that are telling me just how bad it is. It's bad. It's bad, 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 bad. So we go over to here. We've got a devil strip here that is, you know, essentially it's the same deal. It's just terrible, terrible, you know, neglected soil. And then this is the south side, looking down into the alley, right? So this is going to get blasted with sun all damn day. And I like using my alley strip. So this is the only reason you don't see amaranth 12 foot high here, is because I was told by the city that I will cut it or they will cut it for me at my expense. And I don't have time to fight. What is cool is this. A really mature fruiting mulberry tree that 2 of its suckers, well, not probably suckers, have grown directly into our backyard. I have verified that they are fruiting mulberries because there are dried fruits at the end of stalks. So I am watering this thing like nobody's business. So we've got a whole bunch of shade here that we're going to have to, you know, that not deal with. We're going to have an opportunity to play between, you know, no shade relief over there, all the way to shade relief, you know, over here. And black locust tree. Oh, thank God. You know, I see stuff like this, and I'm truly thankful that this thing is here. And it has sent one of its suckers into my backyard. And in my old house back in Lubbock, I have about 5 of these growing, which I'm going to dig up and take as many of their roots as I possibly can, so I can transport them up here and plant them. And I'll show you where that's going to be in another video. But for right now, let's just go back, and we'll get back into the backyard. Okay, let's start by looking at this huge crop of amaranth, which you guys have already seen. But let's, and there's going to be, there's a lot of crap back here, guys. So, you know, it's not like I'm living like this on purpose. This is just, you know, the function of moving in. And there's McCoy, the little Shih Tzu mix. He's actually a really fun dog. So again, got really, you know, I mean, you see stuff like this, and you know, when even amaranth doesn't want to grow on something, that's pretty bad. Now what's cool is that this plant right here, being on the edge of this, is going to prime this soil. So I can't really see what I'm doing here. Yeah, this soil will be better. So there will be propagation across this, as if I just like let it go completely naturally, which I won't. I'm going to help this a little bit. But I mean, wow, boy, some thick grass. There's some really, really thick grasses here. And so we are looking southwest right there. True west, true south. And here's the side of the garage. It's coming down into our that, you know, sits into our backyard. Big bushes of pioneer species, thick grass that I'm letting grow to shade for keep evaporation down. So you can see, got a lot. I mean, I'm excited, to tell you the truth. I mean, most people would look at this and go, oh my God, kill me now, but I'm not. I'm actually really excited about how this is going to turn out because I know what all this stuff is doing for me. It is working for me, not against me. Okay, so back porch, sun blasted, oh my God. Unusable in the summertime from the hours of, like, let's say 11 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the high summer in the afternoon. Unusable, too damn hot, because you're getting baked from that wall, you're getting baked from these walls, you're getting baked from the bottom. I mean, this is just this corner just traps heat, and I'm going to deal with it. Again, that's going to be like another video. But I am going to deal with it. And then it's a very narrow backyard, but it's still, I mean, I got a lot of room here, man. I got a lot of room to do all kinds of neat stuff. Smoker, barbecue grill. I will have, you know, I do stuff like Why Wait for Bacon, where I smoke on Twitter. I smoke like a whole pork belly all day for, like, you know, special days like Memorial Day or whatever. Anyway, so now because we've got these trees, let's come back over here, let's get widen out. So we got these trees, which I don't know. Again, I'm not a botanist. I cannot name off Latin names by sight or even their common name. They are providing me shade in this particular area. So, you know, this room gets shade all day long, which is, you know, a blessing. But, you know, down there, and you can see I've got a sunscreen up. You know, I had to put it up to get, you know, at least some of the solar radiation to get off my house, because I'm tired of that thing running all the time, and it runs all the time. But be that as it may, we got nice amounts of shade right here that transitions to sun-blasted hellhole to sun-blasted hellhole. But this is a really nice little area, and this is usable pretty much all day long because the canopy stretches straight up overhead. So this is going to be a little micro environment that I'm going to utilize. And look what we got. See if anybody can, you know what that is? We'll talk about that later. Not in this video. That's for another one. But, you know, again, I'm letting this crap grow because I know that the soil has problems and I want them fixed. And this tool set that I got going on right here is allowing the fixing of this soil, and it's going to be better next year. It's going to be better. And I'm going to do some stuff this fall to this ground in conjunction with, you know, what the amaranth and the pioneer species are doing. And we'll get to that in later areas. And as noticed, I have the condensate line. This is temporary, but the condensate line from the air conditioner is feeding, you know, this little pool, which I'm thinking I'm pretty much going to turn this into a shallow, moderately shallow pond, not big, but something with a bunch of rocks in it, because I want to attract, we got a bullfrog that's been bouncing around back here ever since we moved in, and I want to encourage that because amphibians and whatnot, they eat a lot of bugs. They eat a whole bunch of bugs, and they eat a bunch of ground bugs. And, you know, it's one of those permaculture things where it's like, oh, you don't have a bug problem, you got a lack of reptile problem. You know, those kinds of things that's not just tongue-in-cheek. That's an actual thing. It's like, no, you don't have a weed problem. No. You got a shitty soil problem. The weeds just happen to fix it. So anyway, there's liability tree 1, liability tree 2, looking west. So these are pretty big too. I mean, these are coming up. That tallest one that's in the back is going to be every bit of 5'5". And you know, this thing, I'm going to dismantle this and chuck it, or repurpose some of the, you know, building materials. But it's like, no, I want all this land as arable as I can get. So anyway, this ends up being the pocket, the northwest pocket of the backyard, which essentially ends the tour as to what's going on. But let's kind of scan around so you can see what BS I'm dealing with. Oh, lamb's quarter. Yeah, this stuff is really good. It's really good to eat. I mean, the bigger leaves, probably not. You know, leaves that have been out for a while, but like newer leaves, they're really good fresh. I've heard they boil up like greens, like, you know, like any other greens that you might have, or maybe like flash fried in some olive oil or something. I haven't tried any of that yet, but I'm going to, because they're, I mean, just fresh, they're delicious. So again, bare dirt. Now this is bare because this is the north side of the house. This doesn't get a whole lot of sun. This actually does get a little bit of sun at the height of the summer, when the sun is at the highest, you know, at its highest place in the sky. Yeah, I'm not talking about time of day. I'm talking about like on the longest day, the sun won't set due west like you think. It sets over there. So I'm actually going to be able to get, you know, I was getting sun at the end of the day in this entire pocket. The reason that that other side doesn't get it is because there's a fence there. So let's go. There's lots of Bermuda grass back here. See, and even it's like it gets so hot. I watered these things just like a couple of days, or like last week, and they're all wilty. And I watered the stuff that looks good, weeds that look good. I love that. I actually watered them on purpose because I need them to do their work. A couple of days ago, they look good, but God, you know, when amaranth looks like that, you know it's hot, you know it's dry, and you know you got some work ahead of you. So I am going to end it there. That's the property walk of our new house, and I'm going to be taking these things by. I'll do shows of me talking about what I'm going to do on the north side of my house, or the north side of my house in the backyard, as opposed to in the street side. What I'm doing in sections of the front side of my house, or the east side of my house, the west side of my house. I'm gonna make a map out of the plat and put them up, and like every time that I do something, I'm gonna have it located exactly the area where I'm talking about on that show, because I've tried that before a long time ago when I kind of tried to dabble with this kind of thing and stopped for various reasons. But I like the whole mapping thing, so that people can get some perspective of where things are in relation to each other. So, hope you enjoy, and we will, well, I'll see you later. Bye.